o'clock on your Friday afternoon now. Welcome in. It is the halftime show. Tyler Head, the fashionably late as always. Terry Ford joining me in just a moment. Captain Dave, back at the controls. It's got to be a fun week for you, only working these 2 days before getting into the weekend, I guess. Though, well, I guess you'll be hanging around for the baseball stuff this weekend, but still. You got your nice little Dave-cation out of the way, right?
Yeah, 2 days a week. I would love that every week. Can we get that done?
Unfortunately, we're in radio. That doesn't exist, Dave.
Yeah.
You should know this by now.
Or like 6 or sometimes 7.
Yeah, well, that's just that's the nature of the beast, unfortunately. But glad to have you back and appreciate everything that you do, as frustrating as it may be at times.
Yeah, just working with Terry is the only frustrating part.
Well, that's makes a lot of sense. You can say that even louder considering the fact he's not in here yet.
He'll never hear it.
He'll never hear you. That's right. Man, it's going to be a fun weekend ahead. A lot of Gamecock sports in action. Of course, baseball getting rolling against Oklahoma. Come up tonight to start the SEC slate. Got women's basketball waiting to, it's really kind of a formality, right? They're going to be the number one overall seed. You're just kind of waiting to see who's on your side of the bracket coming up on Sunday. They got the whole watch party over there at CLA and all that kind of stuff. If you want to go out there and experience that with the team. And then I guess it's either late Sunday night or sometime Monday morning, we find out if men's basketball is going to be playing in the NIT, because it certainly looks that way.
NIT, baby. We're stoked. Let's roll. But tell you what, this is...
It's funny, right? It's just hilarious.
It is. It's just, look, and it's nothing to... It's nothing, but it's just funny. And not in a bad way. And no, it's just... Think about it. Just put it in your head. The team that finished last in the SEC is going to play in a postseason tournament, most likely. The way this is playing out, look, it's not a lock, obviously. There's a lot of goofiness around the bubble this year, and we'll see what happens. Like, if San Diego loses, because San Diego's had a really good year, they got excellent metrics, they're right there with Texas in a lot of important numbers. Does San Diego get an at-large spot ahead of Texas if San Diego would lose their conference tournament? I don't know. But point is, that's the thing, right? There's still a little goofiness left here.
Sure.
But if Texas, I can't say with a straight face, if Texas stays in the NCAA tournament, like Joe Lunardi has them in, because Lunardi has 14 SEC teams, South Carolina and LSU will represent the SEC in the NIT, which means every bleeping team in this conference will play in the postseason.
That has to be a record, right?
Yeah, yes,
because what the Big East had the record with 11 in a handful of years ago in terms of representation in the NCAA.
Greatest day in the history of the world.
Yeah, that was just the other day. And now the SEC is obviously going to exceed that. But, yeah, having every single team in your conference play in the postseason might be another record.
It's just nutty. And the thing that...
you think Greg Sankey's going to be proud of that, by the way?
Oh,
hey, all 16 of our teams played in the postseason this year.
How did you get in there, Phillips? So, yeah, man. I mean, and you know what? This is just me. First of all, from just a perspective of just the situation itself, I think it's just I'm all in, man. Sometimes you just got to go with the goofiness, right?
Sure. Again, something we didn't realize was a thing 24 hours ago.
Right. And for me personally, it's like, hey, this is so weird, and it will never happen again. And that's, I think, why I've embraced the goofiness of this, because the chances of any league getting all of their teams in except 2 is never going to happen again.
Right.
And this is an anomaly. It's an outlier. It's a one-off. And for me, I'm just like, man, I'm going to embrace the weirdness on this thing, because the season was over. But this brings all sorts of other fun stuff to talk about, right? For an example, and you and I were talking about this upstairs earlier, if you've ever been on a bad team, and no offense, this was a bad team.
Yes.
Your record is who you are, and you're a bad team. You're the worst team in the SEC. Typically, when you have these years, sports is not fun. It just isn't. You love playing, but it's a slog. It's not fun. No one wants to be looked at as a loser.
Right.
And typically, we want to get away from losing as fast as humanly possible. Season ends, you lose. You had another game you could have won in the SEC tournament, and there's almost that feeling of, thank God that's over.
Finally.
Now we can move on to next year. Whatever next year is for that individual player, and even the coaching staff, even Lamont, right? You're going, all right, this dog is over. Let's move ahead. Like it, and now it might not be.
Well, that's the thing. You listen to his post-game presser, and I don't even think he was aware of the rule at that point in time. We're on to the next thing. We're going to have conversations with players. We're going to start with the portal here coming up in a couple weeks and just focus ahead 2025. Hey, by the way, you might be playing a home game on Tuesday night of next week, by the way, in the NIT.
And look, here's the other thing. The first question is South Carolina accepted? I think you have no choice but to
you really
accept
can't
it.
say no. Like
you have to accept
like,
it.
Here's a couple years ago, North Carolina did not accept the invitation to the NIT. And it's like, okay, I get it. You're North Carolina. You're too high and mighty. You don't want to be a part of
and you
the lowly NIT. You underachieve. I get why they didn't want to be a part of it. But South Carolina, again, two-time NIT champion, back-to-back in 05 and 06.
And plus, this is kind of a gift to let you go play in a tournament and get that atmosphere and the feel of a year you have no business being there, right?
Yeah, exactly. Again, you had no shot at making the NCAA going into Tuesday. And, yeah, you could have pulled off that one win, but there's nowhere you're going to win 5 games in 5 days. And, yeah, it's the basketball gods giving you a gift of, hey, here's some more basketball to play. And, if you're lucky enough, maybe you can play in the Hinkle Field House on April the 3rd.
Is that really a gift after you've gone through what you've gone through?
Is the NIT, it used to be, you could at least say, hey, I played in MSG for the final. You get to play in the world's most famous arena in the finals of the NIT. That's cool.
New York City.
Again, not that nobody pays attention to the NIT. I don't know what year they decided to change that, but it's been in Vegas. Which, hey, that's neat. Now it's at Butler's Field, making me excited to play in the NIT, not necessarily.
Do you think 18, 19, 20-year-olds understand the historic significance of playing in Hinkle Fieldhouse?
Probably not.
No.
I mean, sure, if you want to say Assembly Hall or Cameron Indoor or Rupp, okay, maybe, but I don't know about Hinkle.
Like, where's Hinkle Fieldhouse? Butler. Where's Butler? Indiana. Where's
Indiana?
Where's Indiana? There's this thing called Indiana. So, and then you just say, hey, did you ever see the movie Hoosiers?
Yeah.
Hinkle Fieldhouse. I still don't get you, dude.
I've never seen Hoosiers. Well, what is that?
What Hoosiers is. So the thing about it, okay, first of all, I think you have to accept it. I just do. I think you have no choice. Whether you want to or not, you have to accept it. That's A. Then you get to B. If you're Colin Murray Boyles, have you already blocked Lamont Paris's text messages after the other day where you've moved on?
I would think so. Look, man, he laid it all out there on Tuesday. Left his heart, soul, or Wednesday, whenever that was, heart and soul and everything out there on the court. He's done his service to South Carolina. Even if they accept the bid, there's no way I'm playing if I'm him.
If you're Colin Murray Boyles, that's a hard no.
Oh, yeah.
Correct.
And look, nobody's going to be mad at you, by the way. I get it, bro. Go get your bag. Go start training for the draft. That's fine. You don't need to
heal up your lip.
You don't need to worry about. Yeah, right.
Poor
heal
guy.
the bruises. Get an ice pack, Tylenol. You don't need to worry about this.
No, it's and even if you're Lamont Paris, I mean, look. We said this. Is there a small percentage of a chance that you bring back Colin Murray Boyles because you're going to throw him over $2 million or roughly in that neighborhood to come back for another year? And does he have personal reasons? Maybe he don't want to come back and blah, blah. Maybe he wants to think, I got to shoot more threes, expand my game. Maybe I can be a true lottery pick. Yeah, look, is there some scenario in there in a small percentage that he would do it?
Sure.
All right, first of all, do I think he's going to come back? No. 2, if I was Colin Murray Boyles, would I come back? No. Let's get that out of the way now. So I think if you're gone, you are not going anywhere near the NIT tournament.
That's one of those things where, like, either you have to make the announcement before, like, because again, the tournament starts next week, so that means like Monday. Hey, by the way, I'm going to the draft.
Right.
Or by not playing in it, that's us telling everybody for sure, he's not coming back.
Because it's a weird thing because typically unless you are for sure in the top 15. You'd like to get your assessment from the NBA, get the idea of what they think of you as the draft process starts.
Right.
And if you hear, oh, you're a lock to be a first rounder, which means you're going to be in the top 20, then you go, okay, cool. I'm not coming back. But let's just say you get the talk of we see you between 20 and 30. We're pretty sure you'll be in the first round. That's when a guy will think, maybe I got to go to the draft combine and show him what I got.
Right.
Because you have a long window here before you have to announce anything.
Right.
But to your point, if you're Colin Murray Boyles and you're like, I'm piecing out of this NIT thing. That almost tells everybody you're not coming back, but then you put yourself in a weird limbo because, I think Colin Murray-Boyles is pick between 25 and 30. If a few of these NBA teams picking in that range decide they want to go draft some dude, from the outback of Australia so they can, put him away for a couple of years, you might fall into the second round. The second round, there's no guaranteed contracts. A lot of guys are getting two-way deals. There are guys who are getting specialized contracts, but that's not a guarantee. So, again, if you're Colin Murray-Boyles, they tell you top 20, there's a good chance you kick. If you're getting that we pretty much think you are, you might want to go to the combine, show what you got against the other best of the best. So the window is not set up for this situation, is what I'm saying.
Right.
So if you're Colin Murray-Boyles, you might play in this game just because you want to keep your options open. Because, if you say you don't want to play in the NIT, you can still come back, and they'll take you back.
Sure.
But then you got that, it's a little weird. So this thing also can get kooky for Colin Murray-Boyles. Well, how about players who might want to hit the portal?
Yeah, because the portal opens up on the 24th, which would be in the middle of this happening. Now, you can be in the portal and still play. We've seen that in football plenty of times with guys in bowl games.
What if you don't want to play because you want to hit the portal?
That's the thing is if you don't want to play, then and look, a basketball roster is not as deep as a football one. No. If you got 5 guys in the portal or a combination of guys in the portal and guys not returning,
your first guard off the bench?
Yeah, I was going to say you pulling up the water girl to see if she wants to play. I don't know.
David Adair has I think he has some eligibility left at South Carolina.
Dave, how good are you in the post?
I think I'm absolutely great.
Can you box out?
Yeah.
Lay a little lower body on somebody, Dave?
Oh, sure. I do that all the time.
Well, we don't need to hear any more about that, Dave. We're good. See, we almost went too far with Dave by accident. By accident.
We put a toe over the line, and we need to step back.
Yeah, we need to pull it back. Thanks, Dave.
I should have eligibility. I've never played.
We'll see where this goes. And again, if I'm Lamont and we are going to play a game, I want to get some of my young guys some run too. For a bunch of different reasons. I don't know who's coming back, who's staying. I got no idea about anything, right?
Sure.
But I'm going to play some guys some more minutes I typically would, like a Cam Scott. Honestly, for me, hey, Cam, you're going to get a lot of run today, babe. Conyers, you're going to get a lot of run. Butler, you're getting run.
Yeah.
I'll get these guys on the court and let them play extended minutes in quote-unquote a tournament setting just so I can evaluate more. Now, I might have one game is not going to change my evaluation totally, but putting them in different situations in a game that really doesn't mean a lot, that's what I would do. Now, Lamont, if they do play, he might look at it different.
Yeah.
He might look at it like, okay, we're here. Let's see if we can do some damage. Because like John Calipari said, if we were in another league, well, we're not in the SEC. We're in the NIT, the NIT league now. So Let's go see what we can do. Heck, we were the second best team in the ACC. So why not, right?
Yeah.
I'm even having fun talking about this.
I know. Look, they're likely going to have a decision to make, and I'm intrigued either way. Yes. I'll say that much.
This has given us the most fun we've had all year.
Well, again, it just kind of felt like it came out of nowhere because none of us were aware of this rule.
It's funny, when I first heard about it a few days ago, and I was like, that's a nothing burger. It's not going to happen. I just didn't have any faith in Texas.
Right.
I just didn't. But now it's a something burger. So we'll see. All right. Halftime show, David Adair, Tyler Head, Terry Ford. We'll pop back in here. There's a baseball game coming up tonight. There's a big series, early season series we'll talk about next with Oklahoma for South Carolina baseball. It's the halftime show. We go till 3 here on the game.
107.5 The Game in Columbia, 100.5 The Game in Florence, and 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. The Game Network. It's that time again. Break out your clubs for the 107.5 The Game Spring Golf Classic. This year in partnership with the Lexington County Gamecock Club. Join us on Friday, March 28th at Charwood Golf Club in West Columbia. Call Charwood today to sign up and secure your foursome at 803-755-2000. We'll have the Par 5 Golf Club Cannon and also be giving away a pair of baseball and football season tickets to 2 lucky winners. Plus, one of our special guests is Basketball Hall of Famer and former Gamecock great Alex English. So don't miss out. Call Charwood today at 803-755-2000 to register. 107.5 The Game, broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevy Studios. You can save up to $20,000 on new Silverados. Stop by or shop online today and see how Herndon Chevy makes you smile. Together, let's drive.
Skip the oil, frying with air. Like a Bosch. Crispy like the county fair. Like a Bosch. Cook like a Bosch.
Go inside the Nest, a Krager company on Gadsden Street in the Vista, to find out how you can cook like a Bosch.
Hey Gamecocks, Ben Cato, third generation owner of Cato's Power Equipment, with some great news for anyone looking to add some new lawn equipment to their garage or trailer. Just in time for spring, we've got awesome financing options that let you spread your steel, Toro, or Gravely equipment purchase out over 3, 4, or even 5 years with no interest. For any budget, any yard, Cato's Power Equipment has the best equipment around, with top-notch service to back it up. Come shop our huge selection of zero turns today.
Join us Sunday, March 16th for a spectacular evening at the Ice House Amphitheatre with Rattle and Hum, the ultimate U2 tribute band, presented by O'Hara's Public House. Experience an electrifying performance that captures the essence of U2's iconic sound and energy. With over 14 years of playing together, watch the musicians of Rattle and Hum bring U2's greatest hits to life. Gates open at 3 p.m. and the music kicks off at 4 o'clock. Secure your tickets online at icehouseamphitheatre.com and prepare for an unforgettable show.
Is your crawl space damp or musty? Water in your crawl space can cause wood to rot and creates an environment for mold and mildew that can make its way inside your home. Canty Foundation Specialist specializes in crawl space repair. Call us today for your free inspection so you can have the peace of mind knowing your crawl space is dry and your home is protected. Call today, 803-424-8380, or visit cantycanfixit.com.
Waper Incorporated has been providing great service and top-of-the-line equipment for Columbia's janitorial needs for 50 years. Skip Skipper and Jay Coleman at Waper Incorporated offer unbeatable pre-sale and post-sale service for their equipment to achieve the highest level of customer satisfaction in the Midlands. Waper provides in-service equipment training, installation of proportioning systems and hand care systems, along with a full array of janitorial products. Offering next for same-day delivery to the greater Columbia area. Let Waper serve you. Call 803-600-3757 or waperincsc.com.
They say perfection is a journey, and at Carolina Stone Craftsman, that journey leads us to just outside Columbia in Chapin. Our marble, our granite, our quartz, they're sculpted with the highest craftsmanship, honed with family values, and delivered with professional results. Explore the craftsmanship of each slab, see all our new showroom has to offer, and experience our custom hardscapes. Crafted to perfection, experience Carolina Stone Craftsman's workmanship. Take us for granted. Your journey to perfection starts with us, Carolina Stone Craftsman, just beyond Columbia and Chapin and beyond your expectations. Carolina Stone Craftsman.
Do you have gold you don't need? Are you looking to get cash? At Traditions Fine Jewelers, it only takes a few minutes for us to check, but you'll be amazed at what cash it brings. Did you know if you had gold the size and weight of a quarter, you would generate $125 in 10 karat or $175 in 14 karat? Want to trade your gold? That same quarter would generate $204 in 10 karat or $286 in 14 karat. Traditions Fine Jewelers, 5134 Sunset Boulevard in Lexington, or at the Village at Sand Hills. Traditions Fine Jewelers, always giving you more for your gold.
BOGO is back at iMart Express.
Come on. Okay.
Right now, for a limited time only, new customers can buy their first pair of glasses and get a second pair free. Plus, with eye exams available and same-day glasses, you'll never miss a moment. It's the kind of savings and service you can really get used to.
Okay.
Find a location near you at imartexpress.com to shop our BOGO event today and see everything we have in store for you. iMart Express. Get glasses. Go see.
Powered by Integrated Media. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. For auto, home, and commercial glass. ShepherdsGlass.com. In Chapin and West Columbia. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. Glass.
Halftime Show with Terry Ford and Tyler Head on the Game Network and on the 107.5 The Game app.
Halftime Show. Tyler Head, what are you again? Give me your title.
Assistant Executive Director of Regional Audio Terrestrial Medium with a focus in sports.
I love the regional. See, the regional gives you more punch.
Yeah, it does.
It's like you got something.
Big fish, smaller pond.
It sounds good. And of course, we have David Adair, who's the executive producer of the halftime show.
Yes.
And regional director of the Game Network. Oh, how about that?
How about coordinator of sports programming on what's a good different way to say weekends?
Yeah, you know what I used to say? I used to say I was the executive director of nighttime and weekend programming. Because I was a night guy on a music station when I was young.
Yeah.
I was the executive director of nighttime because I had to work weekends because I was one of the schlubs.
Yeah.
So I was the executive director of nighttime weekend programming.
Sounds pretty good. Looks good on a resume.
Yeah, I liked it. Yeah. So what does that mean? It means I worked nights and weekends.
It means I was the only one in the building.
I was the only
from midnight to 6 a.m.
Oh yeah, I mean I was that guy.
Yeah.
So you got to work it though to your advantage.
Also report on the snack machine when it's out or not working downstairs.
Yes, Dave is our first correspondent when it comes to the snack machine.
You know, I think also, Dave, that means you are also executive director of food services.
Yeah, I like it.
Dave, is there anything more disappointing than coming off the elevator, making that turn, and seeing that either the guy's putting the stuff in there or it's just not working in general?
I hate that.
I hate the out of order sign.
Me too.
It's how it's Wi-Fi connected.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
If it doesn't work, I start moving those little antennas around.
Dave taking apart the snack machine.
I had one day where it was on and operating, and then it told me it wouldn't accept my card.
Did you think maybe somebody hacked into your account?
Kept going. I'm like, come on, I want a Snickers.
I would be so paranoid on that. I'd be like, I got to go upstairs and go to my bank app. Does somebody like drain all $12 out of my bank account that I can't get to the snack machine? You ever have your card because you use it like a bunch of times in a short period? They lock it up, and you have to like go get it unlocked. Bank of America does that.
My bank, the one they will call you if something's fishy, and you have to be like, yeah, that was me, because like, hey, did you just buy a television? Like, yeah, I did. Okay.
Already. Did you just buy a television in Poughkeepsie?
Yeah.
No.
I had one time, because I'm a religious checker of my banking app just to make sure everything's cool.
I find that stunning.
My wife is the exact opposite. She'll go weeks. I'm like, hey, how's your money? She's like, I don't know. And she'll look, oh, sorry, I'm overdrawn. I'm like, you need to check that more often. But one time I had a transaction there from the Rockefeller Center in New York. I've never been to New York. I'm like, what the heck is this? And I immediately get on the phone and ask. It was like for $5. I'm like, that's really weird. Come to find out, it was my Peacock subscription.
Oh, okay.
That was pending.
$4.99, right.
When it's pending, it will say something different than when it actually goes through.
Oh, because NBC's in Rockefeller Center.
Rockefeller Center. And I was like, funny. Oh, okay, that makes it. But I was freaking out. I was like, who has my card and is buying something for $5 at the Rockefeller Center?
And if you're gonna steal my card, $5?
Exactly.
I mean,
I'm like, what is that, half a hot dog in New York?
Here, that's it. This happened to me last weekend. So I'm like, I'm traveling. I'm traveling up north, and I make a couple stops to grab a couple things. So I go to get gas in Darlington, and it's not taking my card. And I'm like, what? I just bought something like 5 minutes ago.
Right.
So I go. I go. All of a sudden, I leave, and I'm going on bank app because I'm like, what's up here? And then I get the text from Bank of America saying, due to consistent activity in a short period of time, we have locked up your card. Please call or go to the website. Well, what if I can't go to the website, or I'm in BFE and I can't make a phone, and you've locked my card?
Right.
Now what? So anyway, it was pretty weird. I'm like, why isn't this working at the mobile station?
Someone once tried to buy 4 concert tickets to Dweezil Zappa in Fond du Lac, Wisconsin on my card.
Well, first of all, anybody buying Dweezil Zappa concert tickets deserves to go to prison.
But Dave, we could believably think that would be you, right?
Yeah, it seemed legit.
Sure. When I look at Dave, I think Dweezil Zappa. And who doesn't want to go? I've been to Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. Once. Notice I said once.
Yeah, you just got to pay extra for that kind of thing.
Didn't need an extra trip. All right. So we got a baseball game tonight. Is this today's? No, it's not. Okay. All right. I got Wednesdays.
I got one here.
Give me a Friday real quick.
Here's Friday.
All right, Dave, get ready to fire up something there with the little mouse. All right, Paul Maneri, talking to the media yesterday, I do believe, and we talked about Brandon Stone being a starter this weekend. Here's Paul Maneri talking about Stone moving into the weekend rotation. That will be cut one, Dave.
Well, I mean, he's been pitching great. You know, every time we've run him out there, he's been really outstanding. Throws a lot of strikes. He's got a good repertoire of pitches. He's got a lot of self-confidence. He just looks like a guy that could handle the Friday night situation and everything that comes with it. I have a lot of confidence in him. I think our team has a lot of confidence in him. And so, you know, he's got a heck of a matchup, you know, with Witherspoon. I assume that's who's going. I haven't seen the rotation yet. It's been, what's the order, Ken?
Yeah, Witherspoon's and then Johnson on Sunday. And then Johnson on Sunday.
So, you know, I mean, obviously, we got our work cut out for us offensively all weekend. They've got a tremendous pitching staff and strong bullpen. But this is the SEC, and this is what you get. You know, this is what you sign up for. But I feel like Brandon is going to, you know, be right in there and compete hard and believe in himself. And I think our defense has been stellar. And if we can play great defense behind him, I don't see any reason why he can't hold his own.
You know, it's interesting. First of all, and I get you want to keep SQ and McCoy sort of where they've been.
Well, and you don't want pitching on short rest.
Right. But you're running out Brandon Stone for his first career start at South Carolina against Kyson Witherspoon.
Yes. Who
is a hammer.
Legitimately one of the best in the conference.
You say, how good is Kyson Witherspoon, Tara? How about an ERA of 1.17, a whip now, which is walks and hits per inning, 0.70. He averages less than one base runner an inning. His ERA is close to 1. 23 innings pitched. He struck out 40 hitters and walked 5. You know what? So far, hitters are batting against our guy.
It's like 138. It's pretty low.
Ding, ding, my friend. Ding, ding. You win the showcase. $138. This guy is your classic dictionary definition, Wikipedia click-on of an ace. A Friday night dude. Brandon, here's the ball, bub. Go get him.
By the way, he has a twin brother that's pitching tomorrow.
Yeah, he's not as good.
He's not as good, but he's still pretty good.
He's still pretty good, but he's just not what his twin brother is. So, and then Cameron Johnson will go on Sunday. So, Brandon, good luck, my friend. That's what you're getting. And we'll talk more about this matchup, obviously, between now and 3 o'clock as well. Elijah Campbell from Nashville at the SEC tournament coming up in our next segment. Yesterday, the ball was unbelievable yesterday.
One right after the other.
It was just crazy.
Up until like 1 o'clock this morning.
Phenomenal day at the SEC tournament. One of the best days ever, matter of fact, if you love close games. So Elijah's coming up next from Nashville as we'll yip with him about the SEC tournament. Family 4-pack of tickets. Let's just do this while we're thinking about it because I'm going to forget about it. Family 4-pack of tickets. Now, that was to Sunday's game, right?
Let me check.
Yeah, double check. 803-404-6100. Dave's favorite moment of the show. Give us a call, 803-404-6100. You want to go this weekend to see Oklahoma come in to visit the Gamecocks. I believe it's Sunday, a family 4-pack.
I got to check with Josh.
But double check. I think it's on that thread. My guess is. It's on the thread. So 803-404-6100. Give us a ring. We will let you know. We think it's Sunday. We're double checking. But give us a call, and you can head off this weekend to see South Carolina, Oklahoma. Again, a family 4-pack of tickets. And also our buddy Elijah Campbell next as we yap SEC tournament basketball on the halftime show on the game. Just in case you just woke up, you missed a hell of a basketball game last night in the SEC tournament. Get Elijah Campbell in here live from Nashville. I tell you what, my man, Kentucky, Oweh and Big Blue, whatever, can celebrate all they want, but Oweh, with a combination of Oweh and the Oklahoma defense on that last play, saved Kentucky from a gigantic, historic choke job. Am I wrong?
The collapse to end all collapses. Like up 10 in that game with a minute and a half left.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And somehow found a way to commit 3 different turnovers, missed 1 free throw at the line. Austin Carr missed a pair of free throws but he missed 1 free throw that would have helped put the game away. And just completely fell apart on defense. That's a game that should have been over. I mean, at one point in my notes, Terry, I had it written down that with about 2 minutes left. I said, this thing's over. It's now, the rest of the game was a formality. And Oklahoma still found a way to somehow, I guess it's maybe more Kentucky. I guess now that I think about it, maybe more Kentucky allowing Oklahoma back in it by just not taking care of the ball for 3 plays. That made a big difference. But, if you went to sleep at a normal time last night, which I expect most of you did, then you missed one of the wildest endings of any college basketball game yesterday.
And you and I were getting all basketball dorky about it, texting.
Oh, yeah.
But, I mean, and one of my pet peeves happened when, first of all, the kid Fears was phenomenal at the end. He even made a 3, which he can't shoot threes. He made a 3 at the end. He was fantastic. He'll be a first-round pick in the NBA draft.
Oh, yeah. Lottery.
Yeah, he'll be a lottery pick. Absolutely. If he learns how to shoot a 3, he's going to be something else. But Fears makes the layup. Oklahoma's up with 5 seconds left. And then Porter Moser does one of my pet peeves of basketball, not guard the inbounder. It drives me insane. Why would you, with 5 seconds left, not put your 9-foot tallest human being on the inbounder to make the inbound pass as difficult as possible, to make them have to go 94 feet and then pressure them all the way down the court? Elijah, it drives me insane.
It drives me insane, too. And after the game, I asked Porter Moser, what's the setup, right? What's the setup defensively, and where did things kind of break down? And he said he wanted to do a 1-2-2 trap, right? So as soon as the ball got crossed half court, they were going to trap. Well, okay, I get it in theory. Here's the issue. Why wasn't the first guy near Oweh on the catch? Nowhere near him on the catch. He caught that with plenty of space. With plenty of space. And then the other guy who was supposed to come in near the corner and trap him just completely misses and loses the race to the corner. If you're going to trap, why are they not more prepared to be in the spot they're supposed to be in? Otega Oweh just got in a straight line. He got the ball with 5 seconds left at the opposite free throw line and was at the basket shooting the ball with about a second left. It was poor execution. I'm with you. I would have guarded the inbound pass and make that inbound a little harder than it was. I also would have had whoever the one was in the 1-2-2 a little closer to Oweh, because Moser even said after the game, he said, we knew the ball was going to Oweh. We knew it was going to Oweh, and they were going to try to get him downhill. Well, if that's the case, why don't you have that guy within 2 feet of him at the beginning of the inbounds play? And then if you are the player on the side that Oweh's driving the ball, why are you not hustling or busting your tail to get to that spot and cut off a driving lane and make him change direction once? Because he didn't. So as great as an athletic play that was by Oweh and a clutch shot that was to be able to win that game, it was a spectacular failure defensively for Oklahoma, too.
So that obviously takes the kick as number 1 for yesterday. How do you split hairs between Ole Miss and their last second shot against Arkansas and double overtime with 2 Texas teams?
Oh man, that game was remarkable. Really, Texas impressed me. I think they showed me something yesterday, and
they got South Carolina in the NIT.
It very well could. They could. I mean, hey, the whole state of South Carolina should be cheering for Texas if they want to play postseason basketball. If you do not want to see your team play postseason basketball, then you should be cheering for Tennessee. If you want this thing over with and you have had enough, you have had your fill, you're in the ring saying no mas, then you should be singing Rocky Top today, because then that would, I think, essentially keep Texas out of it. I still think Texas needs to win today. If they win today, they got a really good shot to be in. But, man, what a game that was. You know what's getting forgotten about in that game, fellas? It's Buzz Williams calling a timeout as Wade Taylor's about to shoot the ball for three. Ball goes in. Mm-hmm. They would have been up 5 with like a minute left. Game's over. At that point, the game's over. Called the timeout only to set up one of the worst inbounds plays you've ever seen to get a low-quality shot that is absolutely bricked like this team does, and then Texas goes on and scores after that. Like that play has been stuck in my mind for the last 12-ish hours. I kid you not. That was, to me, the moment of the game.
I do not disagree, because Wade Taylor makes that, and then all of a sudden you realize there's a timeout, and the inbound play was atrocious. It was absolutely. It's like, did Buzz Williams get them together? Okay, guys, I've got the worst play I've ever thought of. We're going to run it right now. It was ridiculous. And the other part, Elijah Campbell hanging out with us from Nashville, covering the SEC tournament, thanks to our friends at Columbia Craft and Peak Drift here on the halftime show on the game. Those games are so good, we're not talking about the buzzer beater with Ole Miss and Arkansas. I mean, and here's the thing that gets you, too. Padula, who was 0 for 100 from 3, cans the game winner.
Yeah. Who would have thought? Because that was the first game yesterday, right?
Mm-hmm.
Gary, Tyler, when you guys saw that play yesterday and saw Padula hit that 3 with just seconds left on the clock, did you ever think or imagine a possibility where that was the third best game of the day in the SEC tournament, no less? Not just, all college basketball, in that same conference tournament. And now imagine what I just told you right there, and add context that the top 4 seeds haven't even played in this thing yet. Nuts.
The month of March, man, it's special.
It's great. And the Sean Padula shot that you go, Terry's right. He bricked his 6 threes going into that, and had the confidence to shoot it over Trevin Brazil's extended arm, which if Trevin Brazil is anything, it is having very long limbs. Mm-hmm. And that was not an easy shot, and he drilled it. Send Cal home. It's that remarkable game, and it just somehow gets buried because of all the craziness that ensued at Bridgestone and 2 of the games after it.
And Ole Miss, they hacked away a lead, too. So it was very interesting yesterday. Now, we look at today. All right. Obviously, Bama's in. They had the big win over Auburn. Kentucky's in. Florida's in. Florida could be a Final Four team, and no one's talking about them. Mm-hmm. Missouri's in. Yep. Tennessee's in. We just talked about Texas. Look, maybe it's nothing. But if you're Auburn, don't you want to get a taste of a W?
Oh, you have to. You absolutely have to, because they've also been exposed in a little bit of these 2 losses. Texas A&M showed that you can, if you crash the glass hard enough, which I know A&M does it to everybody, so it can be an outlier. But look, guys, 20-plus offensive rebounds is 20-plus offensive rebounds. And Janai Broom's a little banged up. He's been playing hurt for a lot of the year. Maybe you can get Auburn got in a rebounding advantage, right? And then when it came to the Alabama game, Auburn got exposed defensively on the perimeter a little bit. Alabama kind of mismatch hunted and forced Auburn into switches, because Auburn's not afraid to switch defensively. And Janai Broom got out on the perimeter, and there were a couple times where Mark Sears would change direction, or whichever guard's out there, Chris Youngblood, you name it, is out there changing direction, and they caught him at bad angles. This Auburn team on-ball defense has not been very good in the last few games. They got to show they can guard somebody in this game against Ole Miss today. And if they end up losing to Ole Miss, or at least winning and giving up 75-plus, there might be, I would say, legitimate concern that they may have peaked early.
All right, and I love Janai Broom. He should not be on the perimeter guarding anyone. God love him.
No. Keep that man in the paint. If you have to play drop coverage, do it.
Live from the SEC tournament in Nashville. Fine work, my man. And you'll be hopping in doing 3 to 6 with Jay later today. Appreciate you, bud.
Absolutely. Thanks, fellas.
All right. Of course, sponsored by Columbia Craft and Peak Drift. Firehouse Subtext the hour next. 803-404-6100 halftime show. David Ayer under controls. Tyler Head, Terry Ford on the game. Time for our Firehouse sub text the hour, 803-404-6100 here on the Halftime Show. What do you got there, bub?
Bill says USC should refuse an NIT invitation, let the players get a break, and let the coaches concentrate more on portal recruiting. So he's in team camp, no.
Yeah, look, there's no right answer. I mean, it's just how you feel in your opinion. And I see what, Bill, right?
Yeah, Bill.
I get what Bill's saying. In the bigger picture, if you want to think about this for the best overall idea for the program, it is to get a head start on recruiting for next year.
Yes.
It is. Because, look, this year, even if you make some crazy, wacky NIT run, it's the NIT. And, yeah, you're getting a good taste to end the year on. But still, you had a season that's unacceptable, that you cannot repeat ever again. And I get Bill's idea of just get forward and get better for next year. But I'll throw this at you. Is there any positive forward momentum in going to the NIT and winning some NIT? I'm not even saying get to Hinkle. I'm just saying win a game or two in the NIT. Is there any value of that, or the way this has become year to year, it really doesn't bring a lot of value?
It doesn't bring a lot of value to me. I said earlier that it's the Birmingham Bowl of college basketball.
That's being kind, by the way.
Yeah, it is being kind. Maybe an insult to the Birmingham Bowl, but it's like it's a consolation prize for not being good enough to get into a 68-team field for the NCAA tournament.
Think about that for a minute.
If you win the entire thing, congratulations, you're number 69.
You hang a banner.
You hang a banner, right? And you're on your finals on Thursday, a Final Four weekend with all of 12 people watching.
Right.
You know what I mean? This exists because ESPN doesn't have rights to the NCAA tournament at this point. So yeah, you're not feeling good by winning the NIT. If anything, like you said, it's, hey, if Cam Scott's going to be back, if Arden Conyers, Morris Ugasuk, get these guys out there, get them more playing time, and figure out what you have and what you need to build around for next year.
So I think that's the only value, is getting young guys some run. I'm with you on the, hey, if you win a few games in the NIT or whatever, does that change? That doesn't change anything. You had an unacceptable season that, again, you can't repeat. So, no, in the bigger picture, going to the NIT doesn't take that nasty taste out of your mouth that you can't get rid of from this season. But like I said, for me, just for the idea this is so weird and will never happen again, and is such an outlier, that just me personally, have them in, man. Go to it.
It's the what is it, Agent for Chaos? You just want to see something crazy happen?
I think this is so kooky.
All right, we're going to play Southwestern Central Pennsylvania State University in the first round. Cool.
Yes. Let's sell out the barn and go crazy, baby. But logically, Bill is right. I mean, if we're going to take the fun and the emotion out of it and just look at it cold,
that's probably the better option.
Bill's right that you know, turn it down and go portal hunting, or really start getting your intel ready, because you get sniffs of who's going to go in the portal.
The portal opens on the 24th, which would be in the middle of this happening, and I wouldn't want anything to distract this team from trying to go out there and get the best portal stuff they can get.
Yes. So as boring and dull as it is to be logical, yes, in the true what's best for your program world, you turn it down and you start portal hunting and getting your intel for when the portal opens. That was really put a damper on the whole thing. Kind of bummed now.
We'll see if they take it.
All right, lots of football the 1 o'clock hour, sponsored by Atlantic Windows and Doors in the Game. Halftime show, the 1 o'clock hour, like always, nothing but football, sponsored by Atlantic Windows and Doors. Tyler Head, Terry Ford, David Dare, captaining the ship as we go up until 3 o'clock here on the game. All right, I know that you guys did the linebacker preview today going into spring, right?
Yep.
And, the guys on Gamecock Central have been putting up, position by position, deep dives going into the spring. And, look, there's going to be one more portal opportunity right after spring football. And you can add some pieces like we've been talking about, wide receiver, maybe another pass rusher, defensive tackle, whatever, to add to the mix. But at the end of the day, unless you really hit a couple of things in the spring portal, you're going to be relying on development. You just are this time.
Yep.
And whether it's like you guys are talking about my man Fred.
JR, whatever we're calling him.
I just like Fred. Johnson or Jaron Willis, who he played 13 snaps last year or something.
Yeah, not a lot.
And year before he showed us a lot in November, getting heat on quarterbacks. And Wes and Chris were talking today about Willis had really shined in practice. He wasn't going to get on the field because the guy's in front of him. Matter of fact, Willis stayed this year. My guess is Willis stayed because he saw opportunity.
Yeah, no, he saw
a ton of it.
Literally the entire linebacker room cleared out of the guys that were here and playing most of the minutes last year. And, now he gets the opportunity. And again, it's wide open. We think J.R. Johnson kind of leads the way. We don't know. And again, as Beamer says all the time, open competition through spring, summer, fall camp. And you hope they have the best 2 to 3 guys out there on the field when the season starts.
And, those 2 guys are depending on development. Also, the 2 transfer portal linebackers, Murphy and
Okoronkwo.
Close enough.
Sure.
2 guys, again, they need to develop. They aren't guys coming in here with resumes of starting games and seasons of being a starter. So you need development with those 2 guys. Up front defensively, you got Dylan Stewart, which you got what's up there. Everyone else either has to develop from being on this roster last year, the last couple years, or the guys coming in need to develop because they're, again, dudes who, for whatever reason, didn't get to start at their other schools. So, again, that entire front 2 levels of your defense, you're depending on development, whether long-term, short-term development. Offensive line, you got a bunch of guys on that offensive line who are recruited to come in here. Not just Josiah Thompson, who still has to develop, obviously, but Tree, Trove, Marquis Anderson. I mean, you've got, I would say, 4 or 5 offensive linemen who have been in this program for at least 2 years. They need to develop.
Yep.
So you got the wide receiver room. Nick Harbor's still developing. Mazio Bennett was a nice contributor his freshman year. He's got to develop. Jalen Brown was a veteran coming in, but he was hurt a lot last year. So he's got to get healthy. You got a bunch of freshman wide receivers coming in who you hope one guy can be maybe this year's Mazio Bennett, right?
Yep.
Again, the D word, development. Development. Everywhere on this football team. That's a huge key to this whole thing, is the development of all these players. 37 seniors last year. We keep forgetting that sometimes. Just how veteran-laden this team was.
One of the most experienced teams in all of college football.
Yeah. So we look all over the field on both sides of the ball for South Carolina. Heck, ready? Long snapper, holder, punter, kicker.
All gone.
Saying you're going to be replacing, again, long snapper is one of those positions.
You don't know. You don't talk about it until you need to talk about it.
Right.
And you had a pretty darn good one.
If you're the long snapper, you hope no one talks about you all year.
Yes, outside of catching a touchdown pass.
Because that means you've done a heck of a job.
That's right.
So
same thing with offensive line.
Yeah.
If we don't talk about you, you're doing good.
Everything's going well.
Guess who we didn't talk about last year? Torrey Simpkins, because he was the best O-lineman.
He was good. So that's the thing. We are going to watch it, and you add that to this, all the expectation for this football program.
Yeah.
All the expectation. You are looked at as a team that's going to compete for a college football playoff spot. Some of these way too early top 25s had you in the top 10.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So add up all the question marks, and all of it leads to the D word, development, and then mix in expectation.
Well, and as we've seen from so many of the top programs, just because you have a lot of roster turnover, that's never seen as an excuse, right? Nobody wants to buy we just don't have the guys that we had last year. Why not? You got a portal. Go out there and get anybody you want. You got, coaches that can develop these guys. Should be good. You should be able to replicate or be in the same, area that you were a year ago in terms of winning games and being in the conversation for the college football playoff, so people can say that's what South Carolina should be.
And look, especially when you see what Coach Sig did at Indiana.
Yep.
He brought in, I think the count was 1.73 billion transfers.
He basically took James Madison
and moved
brought them
west
to Bloomington, Indiana.
And it worked. Indiana went from to the college football playoff. Now, is it fair to look at your program and say, well, look what Indiana did? Why can't you do that? It's a little unfair. But the point is, there is no patience anymore. Your expectation, you need to meet. But not every time the portal swings home runs. And look, this might be unfair. Ole Miss should have been a playoff team last year.
Yeah.
They weren't, so guess what? That was a failure. It's a failure. You can say, well, won a bowl game and did this or that and won this many games. No, you were built for the college football playoff. You were picked to go to the college football playoff. You had a lot of money riding on that football team last year to get to the college football playoff. Remember, they did a Last Dance theme. How they doing the CFP?
They didn't.
Yeah, that's a failure.
They won that Gator Bowl by a lot.
Oh boy, yippee skippy. You showed everybody, and don't say you got screwed out of the college football playoff. You screwed yourself.
Yeah, you lost to Kentucky. You lost to Florida, and then third loss. Who's the third loss?
They beat Georgia for once.
Beat Georgia.
Did Ole Miss. They lost. Was that LSU? Yeah, LSU again.
Yeah, the overtime game. That's right. The game they didn't trail until the very end. That's right.
So you lost 3 games. 2 of them you had no business losing. So you screwed yourself. That's a failure. All that money invested in Oxford to be in the college football playoff, that's a failed season no matter how many W's you had. So this thing doesn't always work perfect. And no one cares. No one cares if it doesn't work perfect. Everybody goes like this. Man, worked at Indiana.
Yeah.
What's up with you? SMU had a decent amount of transfer portal players. They made the playoff. What's up with you? That's the way this goes now.
Sure.
And so South Carolina, the heat of expectation goes with the fact that you lost a ton of players and you're hoping for a lot of guys to develop, whether coming in from the portal or who've already been on your team or coming in as freshmen. And that's the key to the whole thing. Yeah, you got quarterback, check the box. You got edge pass rusher, check the box. You can't check many more boxes.
No, you feel pretty good about your DB situation, with guys returning and guys like Cisse coming in. So
you still have 2 spots to fill.
Still have 2 spots to fill, but you feel more okay. But again,
is Cisse if we're going to go by who is the most money of all these guys coming in, it would be Cisse.
Probably so. I mean, definitely the most proven out of pretty much anybody in the portal coming in with this class. And that's the biggest difference between this class and last year's class was, you had guys that maybe weren't superstars like Kyle Kennard and Demetrius Knight, but they had production at their previous schools. And Kennard, was putting up good numbers in the American Athletic Conference. And again, the question becomes, okay, can you do that in the SEC? Kyle Kennard had, 8 sacks when he was at Georgia Tech, and 4 of them came in one game. Okay, that's cool, but can you do it consistently? They were obviously able to do that, and a lot of that does go to the development they got when they got here to South Carolina. But you have even less production with the majority of these guys coming in here, particularly on the front of your defense with Brownlow Dinley and with Sean Murphy and with Okoronkwo. Like, these guys were good, highly touted out of high school, but don't have enough of a track record in college yet for you to really know what you have in them.
And that's the issue. And by the way, I think you just hit the key there. Say Okoronkwo fast.
Okoronkwo.
See, you say it fast.
I'm just
it doesn't matter if you bungle the end or not.
Yeah.
If you say it fast enough.
Yeah, I'm just going to call him O.
I like O.
Big O. How about that?
That beats the heck out of trying to say Okoronkwo.
Just an O, like Missouri had that tight end, Albert O, all those years ago. Everyone said Albert O. You knew who they were talking about.
Right. But that's the thing here. You got a ton of expectation here compared to the reality of you lost a bunch of players from last year's team. And, yeah, you got talent. You absolutely have talent, but it's talent that needs to develop, and that's where you're at. By the way, remember last year after the year before after the 5-7 debacle, there was a lot of talk, a lot of smoke about could Luke Day be gone? Because when you have injuries, everyone thinks it's the strength and conditioning coach or the strength and conditioning staff or that staff they're screwing something up, right? Well, sometimes you play a collision game where people get hurt.
Yep.
You got car crashes for 3.5 hours. Well, Luke Day all of a sudden was on a hot seat. But remember, they sat down, and I don't know how much of this was Shane or Luke or maybe a combination, and said we got to revisit how we do our business when it comes to strength and conditioning. They started doing functional strength exercises, strengthening the body to play football, not just to lift weights.
Right.
And this past year, a lot of healthy players. Not many guys missed time. A lot of guys played the entire season. And a lot of those players were given attaboys to the strength and conditioning, what they did in the offseason with functional strength training and all that other stuff.
Right.
Well, GamecockCentral.com confirmed head football strength and conditioning coach Luke Day will get a revised contract. Should be approved Monday at the Board of Trustees meeting. Terms are not available, but Day is expected to get a raise and an extension. So good for Luke Day.
Well, that answers the question of the email that I got earlier about the meeting.
Yep. So there you go. Luke Day, good for you, man. So going from, should we get a new strength and conditioning coach, to, hey, let's give that guy a raise and an extension.
Can happen that fast.
I want to tell you what, the world of college athletics is nuts.
Gosh, 2 years ago, is Clayton White going to survive the offseason before the 2024 season to now like, well, God, I hope nobody hires him as a head coach.
It's crazy what success does. Crazy.
It is.
All right. This weekend, obviously, we got baseball tonight, 6:45 pregame, 7 o'clock first pitch. South Carolina, Oklahoma, Saturday, also 3:45 pregame, gets everything going against the Sooners. Weather permitting Sunday, 1:15, we get underway. We shall see. Because Sunday the weather looks, tonight and tomorrow looks beautiful. So we will keep you posted there. Football, more football in the 1 o'clock hour, sponsored by Atlantic Windows and Doors here on the Game in Columbia, Florence, Myrtle Beach. Coming up, I'm trolling spring practice notes around the SEC, and I found something kind of interesting.
Okay.
We'll get into that next about one of the programs in the Southeastern Conference. Halftime show, David Ayer, Tyler Head, Terry Ford here on the Game. Rolling the halftime show. David Dare keeping us on the air. Tyler Head's here. Terry Ford, we're going up until 3 here on the game. The Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union Grand Slam giveaway is still going. We've already had 2 slams this year by South Carolina. If a Gamecock hitter goes yard with the bases loaded, you can win cash. Pot goes up $25 every game. We're back up to $75 now. You can register 1075thegame.com. Look for the contest. Click on it. Fill out the little entry stuff. Press submit, and you're in. It's that simple. And if a Gamecock batter does nail a grand slam, we will then, on the early game, hopefully the next day at 7:30, pick a winner. It's that simple. The Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union Grand Slam giveaway. All right, so I am just kind of reading, trolling around, looking at stuff, and I saw some notes going into spring ball for teams in the SEC. So I'm like, ooh, let me click on this. So one of the first things I read was about DJ Lagway, starting quarterback of Florida. Did DJ Lagway throw today was the question. And here's what was talked about in the On 3 post. Since Florida coach Billy Napier revealed last week that quarterback DJ Lagway is dealing with a shoulder injury, that's been the biggest question each day at Florida's spring practices so far. The answer each time has been no. And according to sources, it might continue to be no through the remainder of the spring. The post also says, don't be shocked if DJ Lagway doesn't throw for the remainder of the spring. Now, the word is the injury shouldn't require any surgery, but Florida, again, you should be cautious. It's the spring. Florida doesn't want to risk aggravating the injury by having Lagway throw it all in the spring. Something to keep an eye on, maybe, because if you're putting a lot with the idea that DJ Lagway is your starting quarterback, and if Lagway has a shoulder injury that will either hinder his effectiveness or force him to be shut down in some way, shape, or form, that's not good for Florida, man.
It's not. Also, this is 2 injuries within the first year of him being your starter, which that's a concern. We've seen guys be riddled with injuries throughout their college career, and you certainly hope that's not the case with DJ Lagway. But, yeah, again, you know what you have in him as a thrower. I don't think he needs to throw in the spring. I'm sure there's development things they wanted to work on, but better safe than sorry. Shut him down and then worry about it when fall rolls around.
Backup quarterback's a veteran, Harrison Bailey.
He's the one that had to come in.
The bowl game.
The bowl game,
yeah. 3 touchdown passes for Louisville in the bowl game against Washington. So, again, just something to keep an eye on as a lot of this stuff goes along. One other note, look, let's just be honest. Brett Venables cannot afford another mediocre season at Oklahoma, or he'll be looking for a defensive coordinator gig somewhere. Oklahoma so far healthy in the wide receiver room. John Mateer, remember, his offensive coordinator, Ben Arbuckle, came with him to Oklahoma.
Yep.
So, obviously, there's no ramp up to learn the system. The key here is an offensive line that can block and receivers that can catch it when they throw it. So far, the receivers have stayed healthy, and they like where their offensive line is. Again, it's the spring. It's March. Last time I checked, March is a long way from September or late August.
6 months,
exactly.
5 months.
So, but Oklahoma, what they need is healthy receivers. And they need an offensive line that can block. We saw how bad that offensive line was when South Carolina bushwhacked Oklahoma in Norman.
Right.
Not a good offensive line. It was one of the worst offensive lines in the country. So far, so good coming out of Norman for spring ball. And Florida, I wouldn't say panic. I wouldn't say crazy concern. But I would say it's something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, probably so.
And last time I checked, you tell me, because I only took 1 year in medical school, the shoulder is connected in some way, shape, or form to the arm.
It is. They connect.
So a shoulder injury that lingers could affect
the arm.
The arm.
Yes.
You throw with the arm?
You do.
You sure?
You're supposed to.
You sure?
haven't seen too many quarterbacks throw with their shoulders. Yeah, shoulder's part of the throwing motion, but your arm does a lot of the work.
So the point is, if you got a bad shoulder and it's an injury, you might not need surgery, but let's say it lingers, it could affect your productivity throwing the football. So it's something to keep an eye on in Florida.
Yep.
But Billy Napier is so secure, a bad season wouldn't hurt him, right?
A bad first game would hurt him, if we're being honest. Again, everything's good now. Because, again, he played his way off the hot seat at the end of last year and got the vote of confidence and all that kind of stuff. So everybody's feeling pretty good. But, again, you go out there and you, start off the season 1-3, we're having a different conversation.
And you have a quarterback injury?
Yeah. That's the thing is, people, especially in Gainesville, they're not going to buy, the quarterback was hurt. It's like, well, no, you should have a competent enough quarterback behind him that can get the job done.
Yep. So... Again, just something to keep a little eye on here as we move through the rest of the, not just spring ball, but when it gets for real, late summer or Labor Day weekend. Because Florida, again, they got the same schedule they had last year, just flip-flopping home and away.
Exactly.
Same schedule. And Florida State can't be the same dumpster fire they were last year, right?
I wouldn't think so, but, man. If they are, Norvell's not seeing that game in November.
No. And, again, Miami, you play in the non-conference, too, I believe, again this year. And Miami, again, they don't have...
I think it's a return trip. I think you go to Coral Gables this time.
And they don't have Ward, but they have the guy driving the Lambo.
Carson Beck?
Well, did he get his Lambo back?
He got the Lambo back. He did just break up with his girlfriend, though. Have you been following this?
No! Wait, stop the whole show. Stop everything. Carson Beck went to the University of Miami.
Yeah.
First of all, got a bag or 2 or 3.
Yes.
Got another Lambo because, you need more than one. But also so he could sit around and be all romantic with his girlfriend on campus to, further their wonderful relationship.
Yes.
They broke up?
Apparently so.
Okay. Give me the dirt.
So there is
no, I'm sorry. Like my daughter would say, give me the tea.
Yeah, there's a guy that made a TikTok about this. This is making rounds on Twitter that they were in Miami, or they were in Nashville this past weekend, and they were they're together, photograph, videos, and all that kind of stuff together. And then a day later, suddenly he's not on any of her socials anymore. He's been removed. There's no reference to those two being together. Apparently, and again, I'm just going off of what I've seen from this. Apparently, he was Snapchatting someone and that he shouldn't have been, and things kind of steamrolled from there. This is not the first time Carson Beck's gotten in trouble via Snapchat, if it is indeed true. He had a reputation around Athens for his Snapchatting, and you can dive into that rabbit hole if you want to. But apparently, allegedly, they have broken up. So, yes, he is now at the university with his ex-girlfriend.
Boy. Thank God it's a big campus.
It's a huge campus.
Thank God it's a gigantic campus. Look, this is... Okay, I'm trying to put this the best way I can in the nicest way possible. Because, again, I never, ever, ever, ever have been mistaken for Brad Pitt.
Really?
One time, John Bon Jovi once when I had long hair and I was in a Walmart. That's another story. One time a girl was really drunk and said I looked like Lionel Richie. That's another story, too.
Okay. A little bit of a reach.
A little bit. Carson Beck. If Carson Beck is working at Waffle House, is he pulling all this action?
No.
Okay. Did I do that in a nice way?
I think you did.
Okay.
I think you did. But, if you want to investigate yourself, it's out there. Again, I'm just going off of what I've seen. But for people my generation, if the girl scrubs you from her socials, it's over.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's pretty. Because here's the thing. People, again, my generation, whether it be through Facebook or Instagram, when you stop seeing people post about the other person, it's been a couple months, you're like, I wonder if they're still together. And you go through her page and he's nowhere to be found, it's over.
It's done. Yes, it's absolutely done. I was in a bar, and this girl walks up to a buddy of mine, and myself, and she looks at me, she's like, has anybody ever told you look just like Lionel Richie? I'm like, all the time.
Yes.
Constantly.
He's my uncle.
Uncle Lionel. All right. Nothing but football in the 1 o'clock hour. Sponsored by Atlantic Windows and Doors. Oh, the Dallas Cowboys always give us stuff to talk about. They don't really win championships anymore or even come close to it, but they always give us content gold. We'll get to that next. David Dare, Tyler Head, Terry Ford, Lionel Richie. We're all hanging out here up until 3 on the game. What we're talking about is nothing but football in the 1 o'clock hour, like always, sponsored by Atlantic Windows and Doors on the game. With David Hare and Tyler Head and Terry Ford as we go till 3 with the halftime show. Gamecock Traditions over-under contest. Just go to 1075thegame.com, click on the contest. Over-under is what we do each week. And this week, the over-under is 15.5. That's the total number of innings that Gamecock starting pitchers will throw versus Oklahoma. If you think the pitching staff is going to throw more than 15, really, we don't have a half an inning, but we have to go 15.5. 1/3 is under a half, 2/3 is over a half, right?
Yeah, that is a little...
It's a little tricky. But if you think they'll throw over 15.5 innings, you take the over. If you think they'll go under 15.5 innings, you take the under.
Well, you know what's going to happen. They're going to end up throwing 15 and 2/3. It's like that's just straddling the line.
Yes, it is. So you pick it, you click. If you are right, you go in the big pot of everybody who's right. And then the folks at Gamecock Traditions are going to pick a winner who will get a Gamecock Traditions gift card. You can go to 1075thegame.com to play. Okay, so this is so good. Dexter Lawrence, who played for the Dallas Cowboys over a decade. DeMarcus Dexter Lawrence. Who the hell is Dexter Lawrence? Just somebody.
Another player.
He's another player. DeMarcus Lawrence has played with the Cowboys for over a decade. A good player. Has had some really nice years in Dallas. Lawrence signed a free agent deal with the Seattle Seahawks. And in just kind of like a get-to-know-you interview, Dexter Lawrence said this about the Dallas Cowboys. Hit it, Dave.
You know, Dallas is my home. I made my home there. You know, my family lives there. You know, I'm forever going to be there. But, you know, I know for sure I'm not going to win a Super Bowl there. So, yeah. We here.
We're here. So, Dexter Lawrence said that. And he's not wrong. But the fun really started when guess who went to Twitter X? Micah Parsons, who's never on social media, by the way, and never does any podcasts.
Not at all.
So Micah Parsons goes to Twitter X and says, quote, "This what rejection and envy look like. This some clown bleep." So DeMarcus Lawrence comes back. I love the response. To Micah Parsons by Dexter Lawrence. DeMarcus Lawrence, keep calling him Dexter. Quote from Lawrence, "Calling me a clown won't change the fact that I told the truth. Maybe if you spent less time tweeting and more time winning, I wouldn't have left." Do you hear that sound?
Yeah.
The sound of the mic dropping?
Yep.
By the way, there's no evidence that Parsons replied to that.
Well, how do you come back from that?
What, from the truth?
Yeah. What are you going to say?
You have nothing to say because you just got choke slammed on social media because DeMarcus Lawrence told the truth twice.
Yes.
First of all, can't win a championship in Dallas. Checkbox. 2, hey Micah, if you quit tweeting and start winning, maybe just maybe I wouldn't be leaving.
And apparently these two guys didn't get along too well when they were on the team together.
It was funny. I forget what Cowboy game it was this year. And Parsons on the sidelines barking and talking. And Lawrence and a couple other guys were almost giving him the eye roll like, "Oh, you're a leader now?"
Yeah.
While the cameras are on you. I'll say this, and this is just the scuttlebutt. This is the example of Micah Parsons. And I've seen this with other players, and specifically one Hall of Famer. Parsons, I don't think Parsons is respected as a leader in the clubhouse, in the locker room.
Okay.
Just like I don't think Dak Prescott's respected as a leader in the locker room. But really, Parsons is not. Because, again, Parsons has podcasts. Parsons is always on social media. Parsons is always blubbering and blathering about something. But to me, if you were a real leader in that football team, you'd shut down your social media and bust your hump to win
and
bust your hump to change the culture of that football team. Part of the culture problem with that football team, started by the owner, is we care about our clicks more. We care about more about our likes. We care about more that we're in the A block on Sports Center than we care about winning championships.
You had Trevon Diggs confronting the reporter immediately after the game, like still in uniform, which tells you, hey, he went immediately to his locker, picked up his phone to see what was being said at him, so knew that guy was outside, and then went over there and yelled at him.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, where are your priorities? You guys just lost the game.
And you care more about...
How about you deal with that part first?
Yeah, but that's the sickness in Dallas. And it started by the owner. And that sickness runs everywhere. And Parsons, he's been drinking that Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
Because he's everywhere talking and yapping. And especially this past year, when your team is underachieving the way Dallas did even before Prescott got hurt, and we see you everywhere on your podcast, see all over social media, commenting on everything, it's like you know you suck, right? You know your team is terrible and you're underachieving and you haven't been to an NFC Championship game in, 30 years now, almost?
Not in my lifetime.
Right. And you're 30 almost.
Almost 30.
So I think Parsons, and watching him talk to the players on the sideline, it's almost like this. Oh, you're a leader now that the cameras are on.
The optics of it are good.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And Lawrence is telling you, that tweet tells you what maybe an outsider who isn't there every day sees and maybe is surmising that this dude's a paper leader. And that's what Lawrence said. If you get off social media and get to winning, basically saying this, if you cared as much about grinding to help us win and make us a championship organization with a championship culture as you do with your stupid thumbs on that phone, maybe I'd still be there. Ouch. I just think you don't have good leadership in the room in Dallas. You have paper leaders, especially Parsons and maybe level B Prescott. They want to look like leaders in front of the cameras, but are they really leaders when it matters? No.
Yeah.
And that's what Lawrence told you right there. That's the thing. And the one thing he said, hey, you can call me names. Doesn't change the fact I told the truth, Bob.
We're off to a good start to the offseason.
That right there tells you everything you need to know about Dallas Cowboys. Right there. Excellent work. DeMarcus Lawrence. Excellent work. But I saw that. I will just say this. There were people who were much more connected, like to the Ravens, who said, you saw Ray Lewis all the time. You saw the dancing and the talking to the players and all that stuff he did. But a lot of people would tell you a lot of that was, the cameras are on. Ray's leading. But the real leader in that locker room for a lot of guys was Ed Reed. Because Ed Reed was the leader all the time.
Yeah.
Follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And again, I wasn't in there. I don't know how true it is, how not true it is. But again, guys know in the locker room if some guys, media's here. Time for me to turn on my other personality. So, just saying, I think that's Micah Parsons in a way. And Micah Parsons, by the way, again, doesn't have the rings that Ray Lewis has.
That's true.
Just saying. So, that was something else, man. That was something else. Real quick, Myles Garrett, and we'll leave you with this nugget from Myles Garrett. So Myles Garrett talked to the media today. Here's what Myles Garrett said. Quote, because remember, if you don't know, Myles Garrett was running around telling everybody who would listen he wanted to get traded and get out of Cleveland because he wanted to go win, and he didn't have any confidence in the Browns to field a winning team anytime soon. Then Myles Garrett got a contract with $123.5 million in guaranteed money that averages, if you just look at averages, it makes him the highest paid non-quarterback in the history of the game.
Right.
So Garrett, his quote, why he decided to stay in Cleveland, this is so good. Just having constant communication with the team, with general manager Andrew Berry, talking about the plans and the future of this team and how we can turn this thing around and turn Cleveland to a winner made me change my mind.
Can you translate that for me?
I'll help you. The fact that they wanted to make me the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL made me want to stay in Cleveland.
Do I want to win or do I want to make a lot of money? I can't have both. I'll take the money.
I'll take door B. I want door B with all the money in it. All right, there's your and some NFL stuff. Firehouse subtext 803-404-6100. And David Dare has breaking news that's quite vital to a lot of folks, not just here, but in America. That's coming up. Halftime show right here on The Game. All right, time to get the Firehouse Sub text of the hour, and then Dave has a momentous piece of news we have to get to. But let's start off 803-404-6100. What do you got there on the old Firehouse Sub text line, my man?
Going back to the NIT, Chris says, let's reward a team with postseason play who lost 20 basketball games. It's stupid. Makes zero sense. A wise man once said common sense is like a plant, but understand that it doesn't grow in everyone's garden.
No, this is.
Here's the thing. I don't think they foresaw this when they changed the rule.
No.
Right? Because typically the SEC will get 8, 9, 10 teams in. Where you're saying, okay, we'll take teams 11 and 12 from the SEC, teams probably around 500 in conference. Solid, right? I don't think they foresaw 14 teams getting in and you're having to take the bottom 2.
All right, let's do something really quick. Because, Texter, you're right. It's ridiculous a team with that record would make the postseason. I don't think anybody would argue that. Not even Lamont Paris would argue with, boy, this is really ridiculous. But let's look at the SEC real fast. In a typical year, let's go by what you just said. In a typical year, a team, let's go with, for an example, this would 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's just say you were looking at 10 teams in the SEC. Oh, heck, we'll go even farther. Let's even say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I will go from 8 and 10 up.
Okay.
That's 12 teams. So even if you had a year like that, which would be record setting, that would mean Oklahoma and Texas, the two 6 and 12 conference squads, who both are around 20 wins, would be the NIT reps.
Yeah.
But it's not a typical year.
No.
Nobody said, hey, I'm sure if you went to the NIT guys and say, look, if you do this, 3 and 15 LSU and 2 and 16 South Carolina are going to be in your tournament. They're going to go, man, let's rethink that.
Yeah.
Nobody in any way, shape, or form expected a 14 and 18 squad and a 12 and 20 squad to even be in the conversation for postseason. Unless they ran the table, won their conference tournament, and end up in the NCAAs, right?
Right.
Which we know is not happening. So, to be fair to the NIT, this is such a crazy, whacked-out scenario that nobody saw coming. But no, Texter, you're right. It's illogical. It makes no sense. But the SEC this year makes no sense.
Pretty much.
All right. Appreciate the text. Again, you're not wrong. 803-404-6100. Dave has found incredibly important news in the world of television. This is Jason Sudeikis, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's he on again?
He's on the New Heights podcast with Travis and Jason Kelsey.
All right. And here's what Jason Sudeikis said. Look, if you ever watched Ted Lasso, it ended after 3 seasons. Conceivably, it was over.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not.
Thank you.
Is there season 4? Is it in the works?
Are we allowed
I don't
to say
know what
that?
I'm allowed to ask.
I think you can ask it. Yeah, that's what we're writing. We're writing season 4 now.
Yeah,
that's the official word. Yeah, Ted's coaching. Yeah, the women's team. So there,
that's happening.
That's
Women's team.
Yeah.
Is he coming back to the States? Or?
Yeah, that's too many questions. But
We'll leave it at that. We'll leave it at
4th season of Ted Lasso. There you go. For people who watch Ted Lasso, and I got sucked into the Ted Lasso vortex against my will. Show's ridiculous. It's so good. There is going to be a 4th season of Ted Lasso. You feel good now, Dave?
I do, and Apple TV confirmed it, so absolutely true.
There we go. You haven't done the Ted Lasso, have you? Have you done Ted Lasso yet?
I have not. I got to do that. I got to do Severance. There's other shows.
Get ready. Dave's not listening. Just do Ted Lasso.
Just do Ted Lasso. Okay.
No.
I still got to get Apple TV.
Season finale last night.
I tell you what, Dave, why don't you just give Tyler your login information for Apple TV and let's just move on?
You know they track that now. They come after you.
So?
Helicopters.
It's okay, Dave. It's not like
well, Dave, you can just pay extra so I can have the screen, right?
There you go. And plus, Dave, it's not like the first time federal authorities have broken into your home.
True, but the helicopters this morning are all over around the house. I was really upset.
Season 4 of Ted Lasso. Yes! I'm saying that now. I hope it's not going to be as disappointing as the last season of Killing Eve. Awful.
Yes.
That was terrible. All right, what's trending at 2? We have Scott Hamilton, the 2 o'clock hour, and Tyler with a very special interview he did. We're going to have at 2:30 as well, right here on the Halftime Show on the Game. What's trending at 2? Sponsored by Traditions Fine Jewelry, Gamecock Traditions. Here on the halftime show with David Ayer, Tyler Head, Terry Ford here on the game. Scott Hamilton, 2:15 from the Post and Courier. Really good article. Did 10 questions with Greg Sankey. It's the anniversary of the whole COVID situation. So, Scott Hamilton, nice work there. I said Scott Hamilton, nice work in the same sentence. I feel a little weird. But we'll talk to our buddy Scott Hamilton from the Post and Courier at 2:15. At 2:30, we're preempting the greatest day in the history of the world because you talked to Bubba Wallace.
Yeah, it was a neat interview. Did a little bit earlier on this week ahead of Throwback Weekend coming up here in a couple weeks. So get to hear a little bit of that coming up at 2:30.
All right, but I will get a little piece of history. And since Dave went through such trouble to print it and walk it over to me, today, the bloodworm moon, the worm blood moon, will be out tonight. The first lunar eclipse visible above the Palmetto State in over 2 years. Tonight's top story is the worm blood moon.
Why is it worm blood?
Yeah, why is it worm blood, Dave? Help us out, Dave.
What's the difference between that?
I have to read. It's in the Post and Courier. Let me read the article.
You present us with information that you don't have full context of?
I think the worms come out because they go, hey, moon, red, boom, let's come out.
Is this like Groundhog Day?
Am I supposed to look for these
Or the
worms? How
groundhog
does this
pops out?
work?
Yeah, if the worms come out and see their shadow under the blood moon.
Does that mean summer's coming sooner?
Yeah,
Please.
6 more weeks of summer?
Yes.
You knew it, didn't you think at any point that we were going to ask you?
No.
Is that different than a...
You often ignore me.
Is that different than a normal
that's
blood
true.
moon?
Tyler asked you something today. What was
Is that different than a normal blood moon? Is that the same thing?
No, it's totally different.
Okay, why is it different?
It's a Native American thing, they say.
Okay, but what's different between that normal blood moon and then worm blood moon?
Well, have you ever had to go fishing and you don't have any worms or enough money? The convenience stores closed down out by Lake Murray.
Well, the good convenience stores are 24 hours. That's where you get the worms from.
Well, yeah, but not always. So you go out. If you don't have any money, I did this all the time. Go out, take a rake the leaves under the warm blood moon, and there's worms everywhere. And then you can do what I do, go down to the fishing hole on the 9th hole of the Lawrence County Country Club till they run you off and you can start fishing. There's a lot of fish in those water traps.
So that's where you first got in trouble with the law, Dave.
Mm-hmm. There you go, Dave. We figured it out now. Just not a fisherman. Not my bag. Not my thing. If you are, that's okay.
No, I enjoy fishing. It's just I go to the convenience store that sells the worms from the guy with overalls in the back.
I love the sign "live bait" right in front of the
Oh, listen,
convenience store.
the more of a shack that it looks like, A, th're going to have good bait, and B, their breakfast is probably really good.
I always like when they have breakfast too, because I like to mix my bait with a good.
Listen, you the best breakfast you'll have in your life in the Southeast is probably from a gas station.
That's true. A couple worms and some eggs.
Well, my eggs are a little rubbery. Oh, look, there's some bait.
Hey, you know what's more fun than worms? Going to see a baseball game.
And we should give away the tickets.
We should give away some
nice
tickets.
Work by you. Let's do it right now. What do we got, Tyler?
We have a pair for Saturday and a pair for Sunday. Callers, 3 and 4.
Sure.
3 gets Saturday, 4 gets Sunday. How about that?
Let's do that right now. 803-404-6100. Also, we have a programming change. Just got a text from Scott Hamilton. I take back everything nice I said about him. And he sends this text. I can do 2:15, but is 2:30 an option? Passively aggressively, he's asking to do 2:30.
Okay.
Just ask to do 2:30. Just ask. Don't be a weasel and whine. Just ask.
So hey, I'm available at 2:30.
Just say,
Does that work?
2:15 is really tough for me. Can we do 2:30?
Sure. Why not?
So all you got to do is ask. Don't give me that I can do 2:15, but is 2:30 an option? So now we'll have Scott Hamilton at 2:30. Bubba Wallace, your interview's at 2:15.
Okay, that's fine.
Is that fine? Okay, now we got all that mess out of the way. What's trending at 2, we've got conference tournament hoops everywhere. I love these 2 weeks. Well, I love all of it. I love championship week. I love the power conferences get cooking. Then we get the NCAA tournament. We'll be at Twin Peaks again this year, Thursday and Friday, the first day of the tournament. We also we're trying to coordinate. And we'll get to that right now. We're trying to coordinate our bracket contest where we give. You were here the last couple. We give listeners teams, and if your team wins the whole thing, you get season tickets for the rest of the year for Carolina baseball. So we're working to get that again. This will be our third annual bracket challenge for baseball tickets. But there is breaking news in college basketball. This is to the shock of no one.
Yeah, so this is per John Rothstein. Iowa has fired Fran McCaffrey as their men's basketball coach.
Yeah, it's kind of gone downhill the last couple of years. McCaffrey, remember, he had Luka Garza. He's had some other guys that are first-round picks in the NBA draft. Iowa's had some really good teams. McCaffrey, there's two. Well, first of all, McCaffrey's a really good basketball coach. Let's just get that out of the way. He is good at what he does. But there's two things about McCaffrey that hurt his time at Iowa and take away from the 20-win seasons, the conference records, whatever. McCaffrey he was awful in the NCAA tournament. Never got to the Sweet 16, very rarely got to the field of 32. There are guys who are really good regular season coaches and just bad tournament coaches. Fran McCaffrey might be the poster boy for that.
In his time at Iowa, at least, he's never been able to get past he once got past the second round of the NIT.
Yeah, I mean, he's just never, and even in other stops earlier in his career before Iowa, he's just not a good tournament coach.
Yeah, he's never made it past the second round in any NCAA tournament or any school that he's coached.
Never gotten the Sweet 16. So he's just not a good tournament coach. And look, at Iowa, I mean, they love their football, but they also love their basketball at Iowa.
Sure.
And if you're the basketball coach at Iowa, at some point you got to get the Sweet 16. You just have to. And McCaffrey was there over a decade. I think he was there almost 15 years. Never got to the Sweet 16. Barely got to the round of 32. So and then these last couple of years, the team is just it's starting to go downhill.
Yeah.
Now, is that NIL? Is that just Fran's going like this? I'm in my 60s. I'm done.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And yesterday he had his blow up at the Big Ten tournament.
Yeah,
that apparently was his final act as the Iowa head coach.
Didn't look good, man. That wasn't a good look, and it was not a good blow up and not a good time. And Iowa lost the game that they were in, and McCaffrey lost his stuff. That's Fran McCaffrey.
Yeah,
he's very volatile, and that's going to be the second thing about Fran McCaffrey. A, not a good tournament coach. B, kind of a jerk. Just call it like it is. He can be at times kind of a jerk. He can be a good guy sometimes. He can also be not a good guy. So Fran McCaffrey out at Iowa. If you look at the one-loss record, it was good. If Fran McCaffrey could have gotten to one Final Four, the conversation about Fran McCaffrey would be different. But just not a good tournament coach.
By the way, this news is so fresh. I'm on his Wikipedia page and it hasn't been updated to where he's now the former head coach at Iowa. It still has all the trim and stuff in black and gold. That's an accomplishment.
Nice. Here's a question, since we're talking about coaches and hot seats. If Texas makes the NCAA tournament, does Rodney Terry keep his gig?
Probably.
I would say this. I think unless Texas wins a game or two in the NCAA tournament, if I were the AD, and I know Rodney Terry's buyout right now, I'm going to look at that, and that might be something to tell me a little bit to this, I would move on from Rodney Terry. They got to the Elite Eight with Rodney Terry as the interim coach. That was Chris Beard's team.
Yep.
Once this has become more Rodney Terry's team, it's got worse and worse. And he was, he's been a head coach before, and again, those teams did nothing special. I just think he's a really good recruiter and a really good lieutenant. He's just not a colonel. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
And I just believe that's what Rodney Terry is. And I'm looking right now.
Yeah, let me see if I can find his bio.
He's 45th among all Division I basketball coaches in salary. Base salary, $3 million, blah, 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 blah. I don't see buyout.
Current buyout is $5.4 million.
Yeah, I mean, Texas
signed a 5-year deal in March of 23.
And he's not a highly paid coach. The buyout for Texas, dude, they have $5 million in their cup holders, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If they wanted to move on from him, they easily could. And again, especially in what is now the most competitive league in all of college basketball, you don't want to fall behind.
No, and I think Texas wants to win at everything.
Yes.
Everything. I would probably part ways with Rodney Terry unless they make some miracle run in the NCAA tournament. But if they don't make the NCAA tournament, it's a no-brainer.
I think they're going to make it.
And if they do make it, if I was the AD, if I was the lowest odds, it would not save Rodney Terry.
Mm-hmm.
They might bring him back. I don't know. But if it's me, what Rodney Terry's done in the last couple of years is not what I want Texas basketball to be if I were the AD of Texas.
Sure.
Just saying. So we'll see. All right, real quick, before we hit the break and get to Bubba Wallace, 803-404-6100. Lee has been holding on. Lee, thanks for holding on, my man. You're on the halftime show on the game. What's up, man?
Hey, good to talk with you. I tried to get a hold of y'all yesterday during the football hour, but I got disconnected. But then I seen on Facebook today where Texas beat Texas A&M, and then they said that would put South Carolina in NIT. If South Carolina's basketball program was a horse, I'd take it out and shoot it. So I don't know if they really need. I don't know if you really need to go into the NIT. And one other thing I wanted to mention was, what do you think about the Steelers at quarterback with DK Metcalf, and who's going to throw them the ball? That's what I wanted to ask you yesterday. But
Lee, I tell you, man, there is smoke about Aaron Rodgers. There really is. And
I heard Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, I heard a little bit of that too. Lee, man. You know the Steelers. You know football. They got to go and draft themselves a quarterback, and they got to get a franchise quarterback like they had with Ben. This whole trying to, you talk about shooting. They're trying to put a Band-Aid on a bullet hole. And let's face it, man, the rest of that team, that's a play. I mean, that defense is still playoff caliber. You added another wide receiver to go with Pickens if he can get his head out of his butt. And Freiermuth's a really good tight end. If they can go out and find a quarterback that can actually operate the offense with efficiency, the Steelers are back actually making a little bit of noise. You know what I mean? It's just...
I was really kind of hoping they'd have got Sam Darnold, but he signed with Seattle. So.
What a weird sentence. I hope they got Sam Darnold.
How funny is that? By the way, Lee, they weren't even in on Sam Darnold as the rumor. They didn't even think about it.
I mean, he's young. He could be a franchise quarterback. He just needs, I guess he just needs to find a home because he's like a journeyman right now.
Yeah, your Steelers, if you can get the quarterback thing figured out, you can get back to being the Steelers,
Yeah, we normally at 3 yards in a cloud of dust, and then every once in a while we throw the football, but now it's every once in a while we'll run the ball and throw the ball all three downs.
Yeah, so we'll see. It could be Rodgers, it could be Cousins. I know they brought your boy Mason Rudolph back. I know that makes you happy, but yeah, it's going to be one of these veteran guys. I don't think they go back to Russell Wilson. I think they're going to roll the dice on somebody that wasn't there last year and hope they can recapture some magic. That's my guess, my friend.
Why in the world would you bring Mason Rudolph back?
I don't know. I thought the same thing when I saw it. I was like, why?
He must have pictures on.
Mason Rudolph walks in the Steeler front office. Guess what? You know what I brought with me? The pictures. Where's my contract? Always good talking with you, Lee. We appreciate you, bud. All right, we'll get back in here. Scott Hamilton now at 2:30 from the Post and Courier. Up next, Tyler's interview with Bubba Wallace, his conversation with Bubba Wallace from earlier this week. Darlington week coming up here real soon. So Tyler got a chance to talk to Bubba Wallace. We're going to rack that up for you next, right here on the Halftime Show. More of what's trending at 2, sponsored by Traditions Fine Jewelry and Gamecock Traditions here on the game.
And welcome back in. It is the Extra Point. Tyler Head along with you here on The Game. Making our way through the month of March, getting ever closer to Throwback Weekend at Darlington Raceway coming up here April 5th and 6th. Had Austin Cindric in studio last week. Excited to be joined now on the phone lines by the driver of the number 23 Toyota Camry XSE for 2311 Racing, Bubba Wallace. Bubba, appreciate you taking your time today. How we doing?
Sorry. I'm all good. Just another day closer to traveling out for another race.
I know this is a big deal. You don't have to get choked up talking to me. It's okay. Oh, man. I wish I could say it's been a great start to the season. Been a little rocky. Obviously, wish some of your results were better. What's your assessment of the first handful of races so far?
Yeah, I think you said it perfectly. It's been kind of up and down. We've been able to capitalize on points. That's what has our standings looking decent, although the points hit that we took Sunday in Phoenix, that one kind of stung a little bit. But, it's still early. There's still a lot of movement, a lot of things going to be shuffled around. So we just have to keep our head and stay focused on everything that we need to do and execute on, and things will fall the way they should be. So I do think that we have a good opportunity in front of us this weekend in Vegas. U.S. Air Force on our Toyota Camry. Always love showing up to Vegas. For some reason, the spring race treats us a little bit better than the fall. So we'll see what happens, but looking forward to the opportunity.
Certainly so, and those U.S. Air Force colors always look good, no matter what car they're on, but especially when it comes to yours. And we'll talk about paint schemes here in a little bit when it comes to Darlington Throwback Weekend. But, man, it has been quite a year for you away from the track, recently becoming a new dad. How's that treating you?
It's been really good. Thank you for asking. Bex has been just the absolute blessing for Amanda and I, and it sucks. I feel the pain of leaving every morning or leaving for the weekend. He's just now finding his personality, and he's trying to find his voice. He's screaming all the time, just talking to himself. And it's been really, really fun. And so we're trying to figure out each and every day how to just be better parents and make it all easier for us. So it's been just a fun journey, and it allows you to focus on that and not so much all on racing. Although we know, a lot of the good in our life has come from, what I'm able to do on Sundays. But, there's a new perspective to sit back and enjoy, and I think we're doing that.
Again, talking to NASCAR Cup Series driver Bubba Wallace here on the Extra Point. Have you introduced any die-cast cars or cars to him in general outside of what he sees on Sundays at the racetrack?
Not yet. He's a little too young for that right now. He's just finding out that all of his toys and everything, he's trying to eat everything. So that'll be introduced very soon, though.
Are you a diaper guy? Is that the wife handling that? How does that go down?
No, I got no problem changing the diapers right now. They don't smell too bad, so it's actually been okay.
Now, the competitive side of you trying to change it faster than she is?
She's always going to beat me in that. I take my time and make sure I'm doing it right and whatnot. So it's nice to be able to slow down. So it's a nice contrast to what I do.
I was going to say, we don't need that to be as fast as a NASCAR pit stop. You can take your time with that one. I think that's okay. Again, talking to NASCAR Cup Series driver Bubba Wallace here on the Extra Point. I couldn't have you on here without, of course, talking about your boss, Michael Jordan. Again, the most fierce competitor there's ever been in the sports world. What's it like having that guy looking over your shoulder and signing your checks?
Yeah, it's cool. He's always there watching, whether he's there in spirit or there in person. He's tuned in each and every weekend. Giving us his full support. I think it's awesome to see just how passionate he is about the sport, and making sure we have all the tools necessary that we need to go out and capitalize on what we need to do. So it's really special.
Well, that's the cool thing to me. There have been plenty of celebrities or athletes that have been involved with NASCAR ownership in the past where they kind of slap their name onto something or, just right. Purchase a part of a team and then aren't really hands-on. But, man, he's at the track. He's got his, suite set up on the back stretch of Daytona. I was at Darlington last year when he was down there between your and Reddick's pit during the race, and everybody's trying to get a look at him. Like, it's just so cool to see how much he loves and cares about the sport and obviously wants to see his team be successful.
Yeah, for sure. It's, you nailed it. He's there. When he's there, he makes it well known that he's not just there for just a good time. He wants to see his team compete and do well. He loves the idea of just competition, no matter what sport it is. But for a person of his status to be as invested as he is mentally and physically, emotionally, is really cool for all of us. And everybody at 2311, they feel it. And so it motivates you each and every day to go to work and give it your all.
It's Bubba Wallace here on the phone lines, joining us here on the Extra Point, driving the number 23 Camry for 2311 Racing in the NASCAR Cup Series. We are just a couple weeks away from Darlington Raceway and Throwback Weekend. Darlington, a track that's been pretty good to you. Not been able to get to victory lane just yet, but you guys seem to put your best foot forward every time you show up to the track that's too tough to tame.
Yeah, no doubt. Darlington has been a good track for us. Obviously, qualifying on the pole there for the Southern 500 was really, really special. It's just a lot of fun showing up. And it's one of those places where when I first got there, it kicked my butt for sure. But now I've shown up with a new appreciation over the last couple of years, and it's treated me okay. So definitely not getting complacent, because I know that place will turn around and chew you up and spit you out. So just have to respect what the racetrack gives and go and capitalize.
I was talking to Austin Cindric last week, and we were discussing the difference the 100 miles makes from the spring to the late summer race there with the Southern 500. And he obviously said it's grueling as you would expect. What's the difference in just overall how the track races itself in the springtime, where I'm assuming we're going to be somewhere in the high 70s, low 80s in early April compared to, 90, 95 degrees with a ton of humidity in late August?
Yeah, it's a big mental shift between both races, and I feel like when we hit Darlington for the first time, it just doesn't have that Southern 500 vibe. But we also know it's a key race. It's one of the longest running tracks on the circuit for us, and so we want to just show up there and have a good race and do everything we can to get into victory lane there, because there's nothing like winning at Darlington. And so we just have to be prepared both times when we show up. But it's a good test, when we do show up in the spring versus the summer race, of just what we need to capitalize and win.
Chatting with NASCAR Cup Series driver Bubba Wallace here on the Extra Point. The most important question, though, for the spring race, being Throwback Weekend, we're going to have a throwback this year. What's the sponsor situation? Anything you can share as of right now?
I don't even know what I'm having for lunch tomorrow, yet alone our sponsor for Darlington. So I'll have to get back with you on that, because I'm not sure.
I would say if you're going to go with if McDonald's is the sponsor, anything Bill Elliott from the 90s is always going to be a win. Just putting that out there.
For sure.
As we get set and closer to that Darlington race coming up here in a couple of weeks, again, it's a long season. You got 26 races to win and get yourself into the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs, and then 10 races to decide a champion. Where do you need your team specifically to be by that Darlington race? Roughly 7-8 races into the year to feel like you're in a good spot for the rest of the year going forward.
Yeah, I feel like in the years past we've had good runs at Daytona and Atlanta. And then we kind of just cool off until the summer months. And so for us, it kind of seems that way again, but our point situation is a lot better. I think I read where it's either 24 or 34 points better than years past of where we're at right now. So we just have to keep doing what we do. Looking at Phoenix, we were on track for a top 10, top 12 run, and brakes exploded. So things that are out of our control that you can't dwell on. So for us, we just get back up on the horse and go off and ride again.
I'll say winning that Daytona duel, that's a valuable 10 points that most people don't get the opportunity to have at the beginning of the year.
No doubt. That was big. We were points leader for a minute there, so that was nice.
Last one for you here. We are, of course, a sports radio station. We're the home of the Gamecocks here in Columbia. You're a big Tennessee Vols fan. You guys made the playoffs last year, got bounced by the eventual champions in Ohio State. What's Heupel, what's Nico, what they got going on this fall?
Man, I know. It was cool to see, us making the playoffs. And at first, we had a lot of hype of playing Ohio State. Well, obviously, like you said, they ended up winning the whole thing. And so it was okay. We got beat by the championship team. We'll take that. We got to learn from it and show up this year and be better. So excited to see, just how we shake up. September 1st is always a big day in our household here. College football comes back on. So, I'm excited for Tennessee football for sure.
Well, Bubba, we appreciate you taking your time. Can't wait to see what's going to be happening the rest of the season, and look forward to seeing you out there in Darlington here in a couple weeks.
All right, brother. I appreciate you. Have a good day.
Absolutely. That is Bubba Wallace, driver of the number 23 Camry for 2311 Racing in the NASCAR Cup Series. We'll continue on with the Extra Point coming up next here on The Game.
(803-978-2025). That's the number of the Nest on Gadsden and the Vista. Kreger Company. We talk about this all the time. Don't screw around with your home. If you want to change the look, whether it's new appliances in the kitchen, maybe you want to put a new tub in the bathroom, new lighting, new fixtures, plumbing, whatever, go to people who know what's up. At the Nest, a combined total of almost 70 years of experience. And they have people specifically qualified, experienced folks who deal with the appliances, who deal with the plumbing, who deal with bathrooms, who deal with lighting, fixtures. They've got people who know those specialties. So you call, you make that appointment, you tell them your budget, your vision. They'll bring you in, walk you around, and make it happen for you. That is the Nest. Again, Gadsden in the Vista. Make that call. Go to the experts. Yeah, we're preempting that because we have to move the whole show around. You know, that's why I don't do but a few guests, because they all become divas after a while.
Are you saying talking to Scott Hamilton does not make this the greatest day in the history of the world? Are you insulting the man?
Well, it kind of does the opposite.
Scott, he's hating on you.
Oh, is Scott on the air? Scott with us?
He's hating, and I got like real world problems right now.
What are your real world problems?
All right, so I'm in Atlanta, and I'm following the directions to my hotel, and I'm a working Joe like you. I'm not staying at the 12-star Diamond Resort. So I got a regular hotel, and the directions have taken me through this residential neighborhood that's like, it says I'm a half mile away. But, like, these houses are nice, man. I think I just drove by Chipper Jones's house. I've got to be in the wrong neighborhood.
Wait, hold on, Scott. What Peachtree Street are you on currently?
Yeah, exactly. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, I don't quite know what to make of this. By the way, before we get going into some serious, earth-shattering conversations, I want to know more about this U2 thing. I heard the amphitheater in the spot before you brought me on. I'm down for that, man. Rattle and Hum.
Yeah, it's like one of those they play obviously all U2 songs. It's a band that sounds just like them, from what I understand. It's supposed to be really good.
I don't think the lead singer condescends you like Bono does, though.
Oh, okay, check yourself. Bono's awesome. I've seen them twice in concert. I saw them the first time at Soldier Field, the night of and it was funny. It was the night of a Southern Cal Ohio State football game. Before, they all came together and kumbaya in the Big Ten, and it was awesome. And then I saw them a couple of years later at Madison Square Garden, and Paul Simon came out.
Really? Interesting.
Dude, yeah, I missed the Boss by one night. Springsteen came the night before, and I was pissed.
Have you ever seen Springsteen?
I have.
Yeah.
And it was 3 hours nonstop, no breaks, no encore, rock your socks off. The Boss was incredible.
Dude's unreal. How good was U2?
U2's amazing. The Boss is the best concert I've ever been to, but U2 is the best show.
No, that makes sense. I get where you're going.
Yeah, and it was two different experiences. One was in a stadium, and one was in an arena. So I got a really good feel of what they can do in both settings.
Nice. Don't disrespect U2 to Scott Hamilton there.
Well, I was just talking about Bono specifically. He can be a little much away from the microphone.
All right, man. So a couple things. One, obviously this SEC tournament has been phenomenal. You've been keeping up with this thing, kind of?
Oh, well, yeah, of course. I mean, it's the best basketball conference ever assembled. I'm not afraid to say that right now, because what they're doing is historic, and the conference is living up to all the hype we had during the regular season.
Yeah, yesterday was unreal. Just filthy good basketball yesterday.
I'm watching the Kentucky game last night in the closing minutes, and I turned it off and I quit keeping up with it, and then I look back and Oklahoma made a run, and then I take a deeper dive and I look and I'm like, Oklahoma won 20 games. Did you know that?
Oklahoma won. They were 13-0 going into conference play, Scott. They had beaten Louisville. Oh, they got a couple other nice non-conference wins, and they got in the SEC and went 6-12.
Well, no, that's par for the course. And again, as Carl Ravitch will tell us, the league, only went 500 in league play. So.
Might have been my favorite quote of the year, by the way.
It's hands down quote of the year, man. It's hands down.
Well, it's funny we're talking about conference tournaments because you have an article that just went up a little bit earlier on today about the sad and weird state of where the ACC tournament currently is.
Yeah, it's different. How much time do I have? Because
about 5 minutes.
I've already gotten some feedback from some people. Some people are offended. Some people are applauding me. Some people are saying I'm a guy who's what is it, plagiarizing 100 tired articles about getting off the lawns and all that. But here's the bottom line. The ACC tournament is not what it used to be. And I don't know if either of you guys have ever been to an ACC tournament. I've been to 10 or 12. It, at one point, was the coolest thing, man. It was by far the best conference tournament. And it had a lot going for it, man. It had tradition. It had history. It had really good teams that were playing in different, settings from different places across the country. It was just so cool, even when they expanded. Now it's just like, Because there's only 3 teams going to the NCAA. There's a couple of teams that are trying to improve their resumes, Wake Forest and North Carolina, and the rest is just kind of blah. And any time that you can't let the entirety of your membership into the postseason, I think there's an issue.
Scott Hamilton hanging out with us from Post and Courier here on the halftime show with David Ayer, Tyler Head, Terry Ford in the game. Look, I went to one, and it was in D.C., and Maryland was one and done and got bounced. But just the vibe of the ACC tournament at that point in time was cool because winning the ACC tournament back in the day actually meant something. It really. I remember when Lefty won his first one, Scott, and he said, "I'm going to put the trophy on the hood of my car, and I'm going to drive through Chapel Hill, Durham, and Raleigh with it." I mean, it meant something. And expansion's part of the problem. You know, selling your soul to football is part of the problem. But I haven't been to an ACC tournament obviously since Maryland left the league. But it's just not the same league, Scott. It's just not.
No, it's not, and it's never going to be the same again. It's just how it is. It's just how it is. And look, I get it. And I'm not criticizing Jim Phillips. I'm not criticizing the ACC. I'm not criticizing SMU, Stanford, or Cal. Everybody did what they had to do in order to tread water. That's what it is. And the collateral damage from it is that, and I wrote this in the column, postcourier.com, or Scott Hamilton PC on Twitter, /X. I wrote that it was the mom and pop of conference tournaments, man. It was homey. It was folksy. It had tradition. It was like a class reunion. Everybody was excited to get together no matter who you were from, where you were from, who you rooted for. Now it's just been bludgeoned by Walmart and Amazon. It's so sterile. It's there's no – I keep using the word tradition, man. There's no feel of tradition, and whoever wins this year will be in the record books as the ACC tournament champion. But it's going to hit different. It's going to hit different. Maybe someday it won't. Maybe there'll come a time when we don't think of this edition of the tournament any differently than we did the one in 1958 or the one in 1985 or 2005. But right now it's different, Terry, and it makes me sad, man.
Yeah, because it was a thing, bro. I'm with you. It was a thing back in the day, being a lover of the ACC. All right, so next Friday, is 2:15 good next Friday, or do you have to move it around again for whatever, like you got a pedicure or something?
I have to check with my personal assistant right now. Check this out. I've got the Maxwell Award Gala tonight. That's why I'm here.
Oh, gold. He's going to a gala, Tyler. He's going to a gala.
Wow.
I did not get a tux, but I am wearing a tie.
Don't worry. Hey, you know what's really going to be cool? If you go in there with your suit and tie and wear some Crocs.
Slides with socks.
Make sure you stop by the Varsity on your way so you can get some chili and mustard on that tux. That's a real Atlanta fit.
I am actually meeting a coach at Georgia. We're going to a cocktail and a snack before I walk over to. It's at the College Football Hall of Fame, and I've never been. I'm really excited about it. I'm really excited about the College Football Hall of Fame.
I'll be rolling there for the first time this year because SEC Media Days is there. Yeah.
For nuts like us, it's the perfect place.
Oh, cool. All right, man. I'm gonna let you roll, and we will yap with you again next Friday, boss.
Appreciate y'all. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
There you go. All right, our buddy Scott Hamilton from the Post and Courier. Real quick, I know we only have a few seconds. Look, basketball has been eaten by football. It just has.
Yeah.
And look, I get the ACC. I'm with Scott. I understand why you expanded, why you've done the things you've done. You know, I think Jay and I were doing the show, and I came over something, a piece of information. I think I read it in The Athletic. 25 years ago, 30, maybe 35 years ago, do you know college basketball made more money in the TV deal than football?
Doesn't surprise me. It took a long time for football to get to where it was in TV. It used to have one game.
The ACC basketball made more TV money than football about 30, 35 years ago.
I believe it.
But again, you see where the world's going. You're a basketball league in a football world. You got to do some stuff. I get it. Firehouse Subtext, the hour next. Also, our handoff, sponsored by Little Pigs on Alpine with our buddy Jay Phillips. That's coming up next, the halftime show. Wrapping it up for the week here on The Game. I get our Firehouse Sub text of the hour. David Ayer punching the buttons. Tyler Head, Terry Ford, Jay Phillips will hop in here with as we do our little handoff. Sponsored by Little Pigs on Alpine. What do you got there on the Firehouse Sub text line?
A nameless texter, I believe, thinks we've been too hard on the NIT thing today because the winner of the NIT, 69th place. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're playing for something.
Yes, you are.
You're the best team to not be in the NCAA tournament. And you get to play at Hinkle Fieldhouse.
Hey.
I'm torn on that part of it. I know Hinkle is cool and historic and all that. I'm not dogging Hinkle when I say what I'm going to say. But I always felt like going back to a conversation you and I had yesterday as older dudes than Tyler and Elijah when it comes to the NIT is that the part of the allure was going to Madison Square Garden.
Get to play in the world's most famous arena for the final.
It's funny you bring this up because Tyler and I were talking about it. I said, how many 18 to 24-year-olds have any clue about Hinkle Arena?
Yeah, I mean, they probably
have even seen Hoosiers.
If they've seen Hoosiers, but that's about. But they don't, they don't. And again, look, I love Jen, right? But I don't know that kids are going. Oh, you know what I want to do? I want to go to Indianapolis.
I love to play at Hinkle.
I want to go to, but you say the Garden.
Yeah.
And it's the
New York.
This is one of those things, like we always talk about radio. When you work in radio, you forget sometimes how to be a regular listener because you work in radio every day. Sometimes I think people, like, for example, I'll use college basketball as an example. When you're in the college basketball world in a deep level, you forget that the regular person doesn't think the way you do. And I can see all these basketball heads going, hey, Hinkle Arena.
Yeah.
Hinkle Arena.
Yeah, I don't think it has near the same allure that they want. In fact, there's probably other arenas that the kids might want. They might want to go play in L.A. I don't know.
Well, you know what? We could remember, the whole, David Letterman Man on the Street stuff.
Sure.
That Jay Leno ripped off and tried to make his own. Did I say that out loud? I would love to go to the Man on the Street. Hey, you know where Hinkle Arena is? You ever heard? You know where Hinkle Arena is? I guarantee you 1 out of 10 people would.
Yeah, you would get.
That's not a knock on people.
You'd get the reverse. Where's Madison Square Garden? Oh, it's in Manhattan.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I just think again, these are basketball people too inside of basketball to understand that Hinkle Arena. You got to really, really, really be next level.
Can I throw one more thing that may or may not be? I don't know. Are they getting Hinkle rent free?
Probably. Just it's good for Hinkle, right?
Yeah.
Probably.
And it's good for Butler. It's good for Indianapolis.
Yeah.
I mean, the
I
Garden.
can see that.
The Garden loves to have you, but the Garden has an event basically every night.
Beyonce is there the next night.
Ready? The Garden looks at the NIT crowd and says, "No offense."
Yeah.
Your whole tournament.
And it really could. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if deep down, even if we get, we always say it's all about the money. Because the Garden is probably not cheap.
You think? You think that rent might be a little high? I mean, a studio apartment in Manhattan.
Yeah, right. So,
but
when you rent the Garden to sell 20-some thousand seats. So everybody that's there that night is there as if whether you have 2,300 or 23,000. Right. That's what you're there for.
Yeah. Exactly.
And that's what they're there for. So,
not to be mean, I bet you the Garden, from a pure business perspective, could make more money on some act coming in.
Oh,
Journey at the Garden makes more money than the NIT.
Certainly.
So,
hey, by the way, we got Stuart Lake and John Whittle talking baseball. There's a real bad accident, Barnwell and Gervais down the street here. So coming towards downtown from 5 Points.
Sweet.
Avoid it.
All right, good deal.
Yeah.
Fine work, Dave. Tyler, we'll do this again next week. Jay and Elijah. Elijah's still in Nashville. He might come back one day on the post-game show here on the game. Ed Bird's here to run the show.